online, Amazon, eBay, places like that there, and they're pretty inexpensive. They're about £4. Anything kind of more than that, and I wouldn't be paying it as such. So this is our base, and essentially what we're going to do is we're going to start by, you know, enhancing the base. Now, as I would like to explain, I would use things that I can find around, you know, while out for a walk. So things like twigs. So these are great. So you can pick these up on a wee walk. Pine cones, any types of pine cones, nuts, acorns, things like that there can all be encompassed into your wreath and can be brightened up with colours and different things like that, and leaves as well. So again, more things that you can do yourselves at home. Oranges, you can dry these out, you can slice them up, put them into your oven, and don't put them in too high or they'll burn, like I did with these ones this morning. So we'll show the nice side. So these are great for adding to your wreaths, autumn wreaths as well, because it gives a wee bit of colour as well. Now you can also do the very same thing with apple slices and suppose grapefruit slices and things like that as well. So they're great and pretty inexpensive, and things that you can do yourselves at home. Other things that we can add to our wreaths are little cinnamon sticks. So you can buy these pretty inexpensive as well. A pack of 10 is about £2 in Hobbycraft. And you just wrap them together, a wee bit of twine or a wee bit of rope, and you can add it onto your wreath as well. Other things that you can get, any types of artificial flowers. This was a wee bunch that I got out of Home Bargains, I think, £3, and you get 1, 2, 3. You get 6 heads. So they're lovely cream artificial flowers that can be added to our wee wreath as well. So today, I think the one I'm going to make is going to be pretty dainty. We're going to use little sunflower heads, and we're going to use some little primrose heads as well. And we also then have other wee artificial flowers that we can add in just to bring in those autumn colours, wee purples and things like that. So you can as well pick up your own leaves as well, bring them home, dry them out a bit, and then paint them with PVA glue, any type of glue, and that will kind of enhance them, and that will keep them, that they'll not fall apart whenever you go to put them on your wreath. So again, that's one of the wreaths that you can use. You can also, if you're any way handy at all, or you can get a man in the house who has a saw or a drill, you can get bases made up out of plywood. And the best thing to do with these is to kind of wrap them in the likes of cling film, sellotape, duct tape, something that'll just keep the base from warping if it gets wet when it's out on your front door and things like that. So these are great and pretty inexpensive too. So to dress the wooden wreath, what you can do is you can wrap some rope around it, glue it on, or you can wrap some hessian around it and glue it on, and it just gives it that real nice rustic feel. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the base, and what we're going to do is we're going to start adding some of our twigs and things in and around it. So I'm going to start that. And the way you do this is you kind of start at one side and work your way around in an anti-clockwise direction. You can do it clockwise either if you want. Just gives you a better kind of view as you're working, as you're going along. Let me start this. So if anybody has any questions, they can write them into the group, and I think Louise is going to relay them to me just as I'm working away here and getting these started.
Yes, if you have any questions, just pop them into the chat, and I will pass them on to Louise so she can help us as we're going along.
I forgot to mention too, one of the most important tools that you'll need while making a wreath is a glue gun. So glue guns can be picked up from DIY stores or pound shops. They're pretty inexpensive. They're £2 or £3 each, and you can get then your glue sticks as well. So just to give you an idea of how we're going with this. So as you can see, adding in just the wee twigs, different intersections of the wreath, and it's just to build it up, and it's just to make it a wee bit more fuller, that whenever it's on the front door or the back door, wherever you're putting it, that it can be seen a wee bit better, and that is fuller.
We can't really see your table there, Louise. If there's any way you could kind of hold it up a wee bit while you're doing it so we
Yeah.
can see how to go about it.
So what I'm doing is I'm getting all the wee twigs and I'm essentially slotting them into the rotten wreath and then making a wee pattern as we go along. Just to... Is that a better view? Perfect. So as you can see, the more you put in, it starts to build it up and it starts to give it a wee bit more life and a wee bit fuller. And again, everything is very personal in that you can put as much on it or you can put as little on it. Louise, do you think it would be better if I close my blinds? Would that give it a better?
It might do. These are the challenges of technology. It depends on what time of day it is, what angle the camera's at. But yeah, that's much better. Thank you, Louise.
So I wouldn't glue anything in yet until you kind of get your shape the way you want it. So as you can see, just keep adding to it as we move around. And then just gives it a wee bit more structure. I hope everybody can see that starting to build up. So what I went for is I went for 2 different sizes in the wee twigs. So I went for longer, thinner ones that are more wispy, and then I went for kind of thicker, smaller ones.
And have you just got those out and about, Louise?
Yes, just out and about on a wee dander, out having a wee walk, and they're in the hedgerows, they're, you know, lying on the ground, and just bring them home and dry them out a wee bit, and then they're good to go. And then we just keep going, just keep building up the base as we go along. And then whenever we're ready, whenever you have enough kind of twigs and things in your wreath and you're happy with it, you can start putting down little blobs of glue just to hold it all in place, because you don't want everything falling out as you're trying to put all the other decorations in on top of it too.
Presumably, if you were so inclined, you could paint those wee twigs or colour them in some way.
That you can, or you can spray paint them. If you were doing more kind of a winter themed, so this is an autumnal one, but if you were doing like a winter one for kind of Christmas time, you could spray your wreath white, or you can get them white. And then what you can do then with your twigs is you can spray them, or you can paint them different colours and add in things like glitter to give it a really, really nice effect. The twigs are great because they're pretty inexpensive and they really do bulk out your wreath. And again, you can go for as much or as little as you want. And you can kind of, so if that kind of gives you, that's your base frame there. Now again, you can bulk it out more, or you can go for less. It's really a personal opinion, and it's really what you would like. So can everybody see that okay? Yeah, perfect. So the next bit would be to get your glue gun. Again, pretty inexpensive. So this one here, I think I got this in Hobbycraft. It was maybe £4. And then you get a set of glue sticks that fit into it, and they're a couple of pence as well, maybe £2–3. So whenever your base is ready and you're happy with your base, you can add in your wee dots of glue just to hold in place those twigs and things. I have a little helper with me today, my daughter Amy. She's sitting there, so if I need anything or run out of any supplies, she'll be dashing off to get them for me.
Everybody needs a helper.
I need more than 2 hands at times. So that's just what I'm doing. I'm just adding in blobs of glue just to hold some of the twigs in place. So in usual times, you would be able to kind of do this with groups of people, and you would bring along your supplies and everybody would sit and chat and chitter about what they're going to make and what they would like to make in terms of colours and styles. But unfortunately, we have to make do with Zoom things at the minute. Another idea for your wreath, if you're so inclined, I used to make a few of them myself, is to completely cover your wreath with nuts. So in the likes of Tesco's and Asda and all those places, you can go in and you buy the big bags of nuts, and you can construct your wreath with all the different nuts and the pine cones, and then wrap wee bits of ribbon around it. It's really, really pretty and really natural looking.
And what would you use to attach those with? Would you use like florist wire, Louise, or would you be just using the glue?
Glue is great because it goes far, whereas the nuts, if you start to try and construct the wire up through them, they tend to dry out and fall off. So the easiest way to keep them onto your wreath is to glue them on. And even at that, when you're gluing them on, you'll maybe get 1 or 2 years, maybe 3 years out. I have a wreath that I take out every Christmas, and I made it 4 years ago and it's still perfect. So people can see. So we're just gluing it in there now. So that's where we are at the minute. So now we're going to start adding some of our other different things to the wreath just to bulk it out a wee bit more. So things like these artificial leaves are great. They come in different sizes, they come in different colours, different shades. But again, you can use your own, where you can go and you can pick up some leaves. You can paint them with PVA glue, all the different colours, the reds, the browns, and then you can attach them. But for handiness, I'm using the artificial ones. So again, you just glue them into different points of the wreath. In terms of structure in your wreath, I would say if you have sets of these here, sets of the leaves, I would kind of structure them maybe in a set of 3 or a set of 4, and it just balances it a wee bit more. So this is where you need 4 hands when you're trying to hold up a wreath and trying to glue onto it at the same time. So we'll add the glue. So we'll just put a blob of glue, and then we're going to add So again, you're just going to build up your wreath. Look, you're going to add in your different sets of leaves at different stages of the wreath. And again, this will work if you wanted to do a Christmas wreath. What you could do is, again, you could get your base. So as you can see, the leaves now are starting to build up. And you will find with the glue gun, you'll have what look like cobwebs. That's just the glue stick, which you can pull them off afterwards. So what you can do is you can do like Christmas themed wreaths, where you can go in and buy the baubles and big bows and things like that and add them to your wreath.
I'm loving the glue gun. I'm thinking even I could manage that, because that old floristry wire is real tricky.
The problem with the floristry wire is you have to wrap it, and some of the wire can be really, really sore in your hands. The glue gun's handy. For sheer and utter handiness, and we all want an easy life, quick and easy, so that's why I use the glue gun. And again, even in terms of longevity, the glue gun's great because things don't tend to fall off your wreaths. And if something falls off, you can just glue it back on. It's great. So just to give you an idea, that's how it's shaping up at the minute. Now, don't mind, as I say, don't mind all your wee bits of that look like spiders' webs. It's just the glue, and we can pull them all off. Now, so these are just different coloured leaves. So these are just more kind of reds. Again, they're all artificial. You can pick them up online. So we have reds and kind of oranges, which are great at this time of the year. So we can start adding those in too.
Whereabouts online would you look for those, Louise? Would it be the likes of eBay and Amazon and those places, or
eBay, Amazon, even nipping into wee local shops that do the wee artificial flowers, and they tend to have leaves as well. So as you can see, the oranges are starting to kind of build up a wee bit of colour with the greens. You can buy them pretty much in bulk. That's the way I tend to do it. I buy them in bulk because I would be doing a lot of classes and things like that, workshops with larger groups. Obviously now at the minute, things like that are not going ahead, but generally I would buy in bulk. You'd be buying maybe 500 leaves, or you'd be buying 1,000 leaves or things like that, but you can buy them smaller. You know, if people wanted to club together and get a larger set, and then they can divvy it out and things like that. So again, we're just gluing on these red leaves, just add in a bit of colour. So the way you can stage your wreaths is you can add lots and lots of different leaves. Trying to see the best view that people can see it. So what I went for here is I went for three different sections of the wreath, and I'm going to leave it at 3, and then I'm going to add in more detail at those 3 intersections on the wreath.
It's amazing how great it's looking already, Louise.
Bit of colour. Yeah. It's amazing what a bit of colour does. The greens and the oranges at this time of the year are just fabulous. So again, that's how we're shaping up. It's very hard to see.
No, we can see it well, Louise. That's great.
Perfect.
So you just kind of focus on 3 wee sections. Is it better to focus on like an odd number rather than an even number, or is it just depend on the size of the?
This is a 30 centimeter base. So it's not that you're restricted. If you're going for a bigger base, it's more expensive, and these are kind of cheap and cheerful. Again, the wooden bases are bigger, therefore you could probably fit an awful lot more detail on it. So you could really, really bulk it up. It just depends. Some people like the minimalist look, and some people just like lots and lots and lots. I'm kind of going for in between. I'm going for a bit of an in-between look with as much detail as I can put on. So again, we're going to add in some of the wee orange slices, and again we're just going to glue these on at different areas of the wreath, just add some detail.
And I know you can buy those dried like that because I've seen them, Louise, but can you make them yourself? Yeah,
these are ones I made earlier, as they would say, the blue paper. Again, it's very easy done. You just slice up your oranges, you put them into the oven, dry them out. You might have to put them in a couple of times to dry them out, and they're good to go.
Would you put that on like a low heat, Louise, if you were doing it?
I would put it on about 150, 160 maybe for an hour. Just keep an eye, because you don't want them to burn. Yeah. I burned a few this morning.
I was thinking about myself there, you see. I thought I would have them ruined. That's why I'm asking.
You only think that, and it gives a lovely smell. If you add a wee bit of cinnamon to them, it gives a lovely smell in the house. So here you go. I have added some of the orange slices. So see the way they work really well with the browns and the greens. And then down here, I've started to add in some of the pine cones as well. And it's, as I say, it's a very personal thing. Some people want bling, really colourful. So you could spray paint your pine cones. You could glitter them, you could have them any color you wanted. It's really down to yourself and what kind of style and what kind of look that you're going for in your front door. So again, we're just gluing on some of these pine cones. And a good idea for the pine cones to give it a wee bit more texture is to, when you're adding them, have some of your pine cones sitting out, and it adds a really, really nice bit of texture because it's sitting out. And then you can add some of your pine cones that are kind of more flat. So I'm going to start adding in some of our little sunflowers because I'm conscious of time. And again, so I've added in a little sunflower on one of the little primroses just to show you the idea. Now you can put as many or as little as you want and play around, set them down, have a look at it. Don't just stick everything down first. I'm just, for the sake of this, I'm just putting them all down just to show you in terms of the ideas and things. But you can play around, you can add as little or as many as you want. And now I'm going to add in some of the little cinnamon sticks again, just to give different textures as well. My helper might go and get me some more glue, please. In the box in the front room, please.
How many glue sticks would you need to, for those, Louise?
You would probably need 5 or 6. That's about 4 that I went through already. But that's, you know, I'm just kind of, just to give you an idea. So here I have added in the cinnamon sticks. So again, you can add as much or as little detail as you like. So, and I just add a few more bits in. So this time I'm going to add in some purples, some of these lovely little purple dried flowers, just to give a different colour. The brown box at the front. So if you can see here, what we have added in at the side is we have added in some lovely little the purple, and it really just breaks it up and it gives that real autumn feel to the wreath. So again, there's not too much on here, but there's plenty of detail. Now you could keep going and you could keep adding in more pine cone. It's very much personal effect and personal taste. And if you feel that you want more, you can add more detail or you can do less. So we're just going to add a few more of these in. So if you can see there, there's about 1, 2, 3, 4. There's about 5 or 6 pine cones. There's a couple of wee flowers. You have your green leaves. You have your reds. You have your cinnamon sticks as well. And I think I'm going to add a couple more of the wee sunflowers just to give a wee bit more colour over at this side because it feels a wee bit unbalanced. And again, play around, have a look. If something's not sitting right or something you think, no, that doesn't go there, just play around with your wreath and see, before you stick it all down, just play around with it when it's sitting down flat and kind of see where everything's sitting, whether you're happy enough with it. So that's just what I'm doing. I'm just adding in some more flowers just to give it a wee bit more colour. So I've added a few more. So as you can see, it really starts to build. The more you add, it really starts to build. And you can add more twigs. You can go thicker, you can go longer. It really is up to yourself. It's just let your imagination go wild and just really play around with it. And then even if you're unsure, hang it on the door. And if it looks small, right, maybe we might need a wee bit more, bring it back in and keep adding to it until you're happy with what you've achieved. Again, you can't really go wrong. It's not a case of having to, you know, if you think, oh no, I'm not artistic and I can't do this, it's really, really manageable. And it's one of those things that's really enjoyable while you're doing it.
Yeah, presumably if you put something on and you don't like it with the glue gun, you can actually take it off again,
yeah,
Louise.
Yeah. And that's the great thing about the glue gun. You can kind of peel away. If there's a wee blob of glue, you can peel it away and you can keep going and start again. So you can go different colours. I kind of went for the autumn colours, as in the reds, the yellows, the oranges and the greens. But again, you could go blues and whites, kind of like a real freshy kind of softer feel. You can just, it's your imagination. So if you have colours, like you've themes in your house that you want to run with, you know, you can go with them. So I'm going to add another couple of wee flowers over at this side, and then I think we're about done. This is a really nice project to do alongside some friends and family. Be a nice thing to do in the future. You can kind of do, you can do spring ones where you can have the chicks and things, and you can go for your lilies and kind of real kind of springtime flowers. And then during the summer, you can really just go wild with any kind of color. And
we have a question there in the chat box, Louise, if you can actually dry the leaves yourself. And you use
yes, you can dry. You can bring them home. Best way to dry the leaves is to put them in between 2 sheets of kitchen roll and in between books and let them dry naturally. And again, if you're going to dry them, they can become brittle again. So if you wanted, you could paint them in PVA glue, and that would just give them a wee bit of longevity. Because obviously if the wreath's going on the door and it's going to have the elements and it's going to be battered, you don't want your leaves kind of crinkling over and falling off your wreath. So it's a good way to kind of dry them and then kind of, you know, encase them in a bit of PVA glue or something like that, just to kind of make them a wee bit more robust.
Yeah, so that means you wouldn't even have to order them online. So you could actually go out for a wee autumn walk. Some of us are going to have our kids home now for a couple of weeks. It might be an idea to take them out for a nice long walk, and then if you come home and had lunch or something, you could do something like this in the afternoon. They might enjoy that.
Definitely, this is a great one to do with kids. And the things like acorns, acorn nuts, walnuts, nuts that you would find kind of out on an autumn walk, all brilliant. And again, you can bring them home. You don't need to dry the nuts. The nuts, as long as they're encased and there's no kind of cracks or anything in them, they'll sit on your wreath and you should get a good couple of years out of them. So I'm going to put one more wee pine cone, and I think we're about done. So you can add as much green or as little green as you want. Some people would maybe want more green, more kind of leaves and things. Again, it's entirely up to yourself. It's your preference. It's your wreath, so you decorate it with as much or as little as you feel. So can everybody get a good picture of that without my pink top in the background spoiling it?
Yeah, I can see it very well anyway. Can everybody else? Just put a wee thumbs up if you can see okay. Yeah.
And then I'll bring it in to give you a wee bit of some of the detail.
Yeah. There's somebody saying it's absolutely beautiful, Louise, and it is. It's gorgeous.
And it's kind of, you know what I mean, you would spend a wee bit more time on it than what I have today. So you would really take your time and really kind of position everything on it. But that just gives you a wee idea of what you can achieve. And again, it's just your imagination. You just go with your imagination. And again, if you were going to use like a bigger ring, so could you imagine the amount? The brilliant thing about these stronger rings is that if it's on your door, it's not going to flap about because there's quite a bit of weight there. So it wouldn't be flapping about, whereas the kind of lighter ones can flap about a wee bit on your door, but they're great. They'll stay solid. And obviously you can put more on them.
You buy those online as well, Louise?
You could probably, I would say, if you can get a good handyman, or you had a good, you know, somebody around the house who was good with a wee saw. My hubby cut them out for me, so it was just a wee template that I drew for him, and he had a big sheet of this MDF, and he ran off about 8 of these for me, because we had planned for another wreath making class next week, but obviously that one's not going ahead due to COVID. But they're great. Definitely the bigger ones kind of are more opulent, and you can add more detail to them, which is good.
Where would you get that Hessian? Do you have a wee bit of that wrapped in, Louise?
Hessian, you can get it most online stores, and the likes of Hobbycraft, you might get it in the Works. That there was just a big Hessian sack that I had, and I just cut it up into just about 3 centimeter, 4 centimeter slices, and then you just wrap it around your base. And just gives it that real rustic, and it's real kind of old feel to it. It's really, really nice, and it's pretty easy got online as well.
It's probably good for the glue adhering to it, I was thinking.
Very good. And I would always wrap your base, if you're going for a wooden base, I would always wrap it in sellotape or something. That's just to seal it. That means that then if it is raining and it gets a wee bit wet, it's not going to warp or go bust or anything like that.
That's all the top tips that we need, because if you're not used to doing this kind of thing, I know, Louise, it's second nature to you. You make it look really easy, but it looks like something we could all give it a go at. And that's why I'm asking, where do I go and buy this? How do I get it? Where is it at?
It's all very manageable. It really is. And honestly, it's just what your imagination, and if you think it looks nice, it is. Just because it mightn't look like mine, or it might look like somebody's that you've seen online, that's neither here nor there, because we all have different tastes, and it's what we want to put on our door.
Yeah, there's Charmaine saying that she just picked stuff up when she was out for a walk and dried it out and used it. I actually saw Charmaine made a lovely, like a fireplace garland for a few weeks ago to celebrate Fun Palaces. And she's got a wee step-by-step guide video on Twitter for anybody who wants to maybe have a wee as well. It's another idea. It's like a Christmas garland that you'd have over your fireplace. Charmaine made one, which was like an autumn themed one, which was fantastic.
I think Hobbycraft, I don't know how we are for time, but I think Hobbycraft have brought out their Christmas bases for anybody who wants to make a Christmas garland. And again, you can put baubles on it, you can put lights on it. Same thing, the lights probably go on the last thing, and then just glue the wee box to the back.
Yeah.
And again, it's very easy done, and it's, pretty inexpensive compared to what you would pay if you were going out to buy one.
Yeah, so you could do like a wee Halloween themed one for Halloween.
Kids.
I've seen lovely the lights made me think of that. I saw these lovely like wee pumpkin lights the other day in Home Bargains.
And for the kids ones, the kids can add in little like ghosts, and they can do their own little pictures and things and stick their own pictures on it, and tissue paper. For the kids ones, I would use like tissue papers and things like that. And the wee straws, the wee bendy straws. What do you call them, Emma? Pipe cleaners, wee pipe cleaners that you get that are fuzzy, and you get them in all different colours.
Oh, yeah.
Kids can make their own wee ones as well. It's great.
That's brilliant. Has anybody got any more questions for Louise? I've just checked the chat box there. I've asked all the questions that are in it, but if anybody else has anything else that they want to ask, you can do that now. I'm just having a wee, because I don't have the gallery view on. I had you on my full speaker view screen, and just having a wee squiz around and check if nobody else has anything that they want to ask you. And maybe I asked all the questions because I'm interested in it. I know,
but look, It is. This is the thing. I do lots of workshops, and this is the most popular one. So obviously this is an autumnal one, but the Christmas ones are very popular because obviously we add the lights and the baubles. Like you can do a standalone Christmas bauble wreath, and they look amazing because some of the baubles now are, they look like glass and they look really expensive. Yeah. And if you have 25 or 30 of them in different colours and different styles, just looks amazing.
Yeah. Oh.
And you can keep them inside as well. Some of the wreaths, don't necessarily have to go on your front door. You can hang them inside as well.
Well, thank you so much, Louise, for sharing your skills.
Thank you.
And all your ideas, and you've inspired me to have a go. I am hoping to give it a go maybe this weekend. And I love a good play with a glue gun. The only thing is, once I get started with a glue gun, nothing in my house is safe. I be looking around.
I do the same.
So much.
I do the very same.
But you do have to be, as we were talking about doing it with kids and stuff, you do need to be very watchful of them with the glue gun because it does be hot, and they are fascinated with it and they want to have a go, and it can get to quite a high temperature. You just need
gloves are great. The wee cotton gloves on the kids, just the wee winter gloves are great, and then it stops them from burning their fingers. Yeah. Because kids are great. Kids are very adapted using the glue guns, so we use them in schools. Yeah. But I would definitely go for the wee gloves to stop them burning their fingers.
Great. There's somebody, as Helen, saying she's going to have a go at making it at home now too. So
brilliant.
Hopefully a few of you'll have a go at it. Because you made it look easy, and I know you're very skilled at it, but I think we could make a go at it.
It's so doable, and this is the thing, you play around with it. If it's not looking right, you can take it off, you can try again, play around with it on the table before you glue everything down and kind of have an idea, yes, I like that, and then just build on that. So it's just kind of trial and error and just working around it.
See, that's what I like. That's why I was asking you, could you take it off again with the glue?
Yeah.
Because I'm very liable to go wrong somewhere.
But that's what I'm saying. You tend to start layered up. It's like an onion, layered up. Start with your base and then layered up. So obviously your twigs will go on first, and then your leaves, and then your your other wee bits and pieces, your nuts and your pine cones and things like that. So that's how you do it. You layer it up from the bottom up, and hopefully it'll work. Well, listen, enjoy.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your time and your skills with us this morning. I see somebody else there in the chat box that said they're also going to have a go this weekend.
Brilliant. We'd love to see the photographs.
Yes, if you do it, send me pictures. I want to see everybody's. And I think you can see that even if you had a whole room full of people with all of the same things, they all look different. Yeah, so
completely different,
totally unique. So thank you so much. Thank you
for
participating as well, and we are going to let Louise go now. And
brilliant, thank you, and have a great day.
And thank you to your assistant as well.
Brilliant, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye.
Bye.